Lindsay, Dan, so great to have both of you here. Bitpanda and Klarna are both high growth companies operating across multiple markets. Lindsay, as Bitpanda's CHRO, and Dan, as the leader of global payroll and benefits at Klarna, you each bring a unique perspective on managing a global workforce. But before we dive in, can you give us a quick snapshot of your global footprint? How many countries, employees, and different worker types you're managing today?
First and foremost, we've got about 700 different folks across over 20 different jurisdictions, and we've got everybody, right? So we've got direct employees, we've got EOR folks, we've got folks via contractor of record, we've got consultants, you name it, we have it.
Yeah, and for us, very similar to Lindsay, you name it, we have it. So global payroll, EOR, PEO, contractor of record, consultant, and we're in 26 geographies, and we have around 3,400 employees.
And we're so proud to count both of you guys as customers and close partner. Well, let's dive in a little bit. Lindsay, from an HR perspective, what are the biggest challenges in building and managing a global workforce in a company like Bitpanda?
I think it's the overall complexity, right? Because every time you break into a new jurisdiction, I mean, if we think about what that looks like, the compliance, the employment laws, everything that requires, right? Being able to navigate that. How do you pay people? Right? That brings on its new thing. There's new taxes, there's new way of processing, there's new vendors, there's all of it, right? And same when you go with your benefits admin. But all of that together really is about, and I think it's hard for organizations to get this right. It's about creating a unified culture. So no matter where and how we employ people, you want it to feel like, hey, you're a part of this team, right? You're a part of this experience with us. Doesn't matter if you're an EOR or a direct employee. And I think that the end game is really to make sure that we build that employee experience, right? To make sure that that is at the top and the best and the ultimate experience for people. And that's hard to get right.
And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think you guys have built one of the most amazing culture in Europe. So we're excited to see you scale. So shifting a little bit to Klarna, then, you guys operate in 26 different countries with thousands of employees. What were some of the biggest challenges your team faced in managing payroll and benefit at this scale?
Yeah, I think so many companies are going to resonate with this no matter what their size is. And it's going to be multiple vendors with lots of manual work. And that is a real challenge. Everyone is trying to solve that challenge, I think, right now, or if they are not trying to solve it right now, they're thinking of trying to solve it in the future, which is really good now. Some companies would prefer to have multiple vendors. They think that it helps with their BCP or business continuity planning. But that can be a real challenge if we want to try to understand exactly how much our workforce costs and where people are across so many different markets. And in terms of benefits, we also had the same type of issues, multiple vendors and multiple countries. And one of the things that we should focus on is the process, then the people, then the systems and technology. So that's really key. The idea is if every process is completely different across all the different geographies, that makes it very difficult to make sure that you can automate. And then if you've got so many different processes, then leveraging people to do it is going to be a challenge. And being able to get the right technology to solve for all of those different parts, it also becomes a really big challenge.
What you said also resonates quite heavily with me, which is every company is either thinking or will be thinking about how do they reshape their infrastructure. What really led you guys to rethink about how you manage global payroll and benefits?
We wanted to focus on just two things. It would be visibility and one supplier goals. For us, it's so good and so key to have visibility of everything very quickly. And that is so important. But also one supplier goals. It's so good to be able to say, even if there isn't an issue or something comes up, you know exactly where to go to, you know what their process is, and that can be solved a lot faster than if you had to scramble across multiple different places in order to try to find the same solution. It also means that we can see enhancements and we can see progress within that one vendor, and we can also then recommend changes that we think would be better and have a vendor who will be able to look at that and move forward with it.
I just want to double down on one small thing you said before, people and process. So can you tell us a little bit of how you were running payroll and benefits before, how are you doing it now, and where are you seeing it going in the future?
Yeah, I think once again, everyone in the payroll space, probably HR space and finance space are definitely going to know this. And that is taking one source of truth that you've got, probably in some form of HR or HRIS system, and having to manually copy that into multiple different templates or multiple different spreadsheets that are completely different because you've got completely different vendors. And that just causes so much confusion there. You copy one thing wrong and you could have an issue, and that was just one thing that we were always getting stuck with. So we wanted to try and solve for that. And also, where you've got manual intervention creates more room for errors. And when finance then get the information, it could then be wrong just because of a manual copy and paste error, and that is not really what any company should be doing or focusing on. Where I see this going in the future is definitely automation, focusing on a really good systems automation, whilst also leveraging AI if possible, from vendors and partners that can help. And that will make all the processes a lot smoother for the people because you have the right technology.
Lindsay, coming back to you, Bitpanda is one of Europe's fastest growing fintech unicorns. It's actually amazing to see you guys in so many football stadiums recently too. I'm always a little proud when I see your logo. And with that rapid growth, what are some of the challenges of scaling HR across multiple regions? Talk us through some of the strategic choices you've made, and what does it look like today at Bitpanda?
Yeah, I think really when we all started, I think the biggest choice that we made was really to go talent first, right? I mean, that is the thing. We're competing against people like yourselves, right? Who needs engineers? Everybody, right? So how do we make sure that we can get the best quality without adding the bureaucracy, without making things slow? And that really is, again, finding not only that right partner to help us get it off the ground, but to be able to move really quickly and get people on the bus really fast. So the talent first approach was a really big strategic decision for us. The other part of this is kind of what I just alluded to, is that vendor selection. At the end of the day, when you start going through growth, when you start to build organizations, you want to make sure that you've got people with you that will grow with you, right? You're not looking for a one-stop shop to fix something really quickly. You want somebody to build with you because your organization changes, right? So getting that right is really, really important. And I think the other thing is, especially when you're thinking about your tech stack, and this is really an HR answer, but when you really start thinking about your tech stack, it's about getting the right single source of truth or whatever it is that you feel is the right solution that'll give you the right data points. You need to be able to make sound people decisions. That's how you show business value. That's how you show the efficiency of the organization. That's critical.
Picking the right partners across your stack is one of the most important decisions that impacts your processes and people so much. So now, Dan, you've ideally centralized a lot of things, if not everything. What has been the real impact on your payroll operations?
Yeah, we've done quite a lot. And I mean, doing this has been able to allow the team to focus on other improvements across the business that we've wanted to do, as well as making sure that payroll is a lot smoother. We've then been able to document a lot of our processes for each of our vendors because now we've got slightly less. And even recently, we've been able to post a 99.5% accuracy, whereas before we were probably ranging at between 90 to 94%. So clearly centralizing has had a really big impact on what we're doing. And that's only going to be a positive for all of our employees.
Yeah, I mean, I think going from 90%, 94% to 99% plus 99.5% plus speaks volume for the quality of the team that you've built internally. And I think the partnership that you've built with the team at Deel as well. So I'm so excited. Lindsay, at Deel, we strive to be a single strategic partner for all your global HR and payroll needs. How has having one trusted partner positively, I hope, impacted your teams and operations?
And again, probably not everybody knows this, so I'll share a little insider info here. But you actually were one of our first people that we had at my previous company, right? To help us really break in as most organizations did during and throughout the whole COVID period, is do that big shift to work from anywhere, right? So you really at that moment helped us do it overnight as per usual. And so we've taken you with us, which is great. And I will continue to do so, I think. Look, at the end of the day, what can you say other than it's somebody that gets it, right? That is unafraid to try and take on challenges and find solves, right? You find a lot of vendors that'll sit there and say, not possible. or they don't want to give advice, or they don't want to, step into for liability reasons, right? But I think finding the right partner and that right sort of co-creator with you to build solutions that last, that build solutions that scale with you and your organization, I think is really, really critical. And also who can navigate all the different complexities that you innately run into as you serve and build. The other thing is, especially in organizations like ours, we move so fast. Do you need somebody who can keep up, right? Again, you guys call it your deal speed. All of us have probably a different label for it, but it really is making sure that you can keep pace and move fast, because that's what people expect nowadays. The old school solutions that were in play, which takes 1, 2, 3 weeks to get a solve, not workable.
That makes a lot of sense, especially in a dynamic organization like yours, and in a place where talent doesn't want to wait a few weeks to get payroll corrected or to get an answer from HR. So as everybody saw, we just announced our global benefit administration tool, and actually Dan and Klarna was the first company to ever go live with it. You guys have been almost to some extent co-creators into helping us put this together and building a product that you hopefully will love. But I think today you're starting in the UK and you're expanding to Sweden very soon. What are some of the challenges that you are aiming to solve? How has this streamlined your benefit management and hopefully the integration between benefits and payroll?
Yeah, and I've mentioned this a little bit before in terms of multiple suppliers. I'll start with our challenge. So if you think payroll is one thing, benefits is a completely different beast. If you think about how many different benefits you have within just one geography, you could have, for instance, 10 different benefits in one geography with different suppliers. If you times that by 26 countries, then you've got 260 vendors with at least minimum 26 different systems that you're going to have to try and maintain. That was just too much. It was very difficult. We then couldn't even figure out how many benefits that we had and then what they costed. Whereas now the idea is to centralize as much as possible. We can then focus on the contracts and making sure that we've got the right benefits for our employees. And then all the administration can be looked after by Deel and be managed in a really simple place. And I think although systems and this type of improvement is great for us, I think about the impact for employees. Previously, you used to get sort of the messages saying, hey, where do I go to find this? Where do I go to find that? How can I click into this specific benefit? Whereas now employees are able to go in, see their pay slips, be able to change their personal details, be able to log their annual leave, be able to see their documentation, and now see their benefits and book their benefits all in one platform. So obviously streamlining for a business, it helps us with our operations. But also helps employees with their ease of use of the system. And that for us is a really big win.
Well, we're so thankful that you helped us build this, and we're excited to take this across every single country with you guys and more. So thank you for all the work there. Lindsay, you've seen Deel grow from, I think you first started using Deel in 2020 or 2021. You've seen us grow as a business. You've seen us grow from a product perspective. And hopefully today you've seen some of the latest innovation we're coming with across Deel HR, whether it's compensation, whether it's workforce planning, Deel talent. From your perspective as a people leader, what stands out to you the most? How valuable would it be to have all these connected tools within one single platform alongside payroll and IT?
I mean, selfishly, it's awesome, right? So you could take exactly what you said, right? Take all those different ingredients and having it in one space. Think about the data points and the information that you would have, right? That's huge. If I had to pick the one that stood out to me the most, it's going to be your workforce planning. And why, because they're all great, but why is that so important to me? And I think it's really when you start looking at your organization and the efficiency of the business, right? When it comes to the people side of the house, it's really hard to show that sometimes. So to be able to have your finance partners and the rest of the business being able to sort of zoom in on this and being able to set it up is huge. Right. And then you can really kind of, instead of saying, hey, immediately fill this seat and get this done and it should be done tomorrow and having everyone yelling, you get actually much more predictive, right? Much more efficient. And you can also show the impact from a commercial perspective.
Hopefully at some point you will try it out as well. Well, Lindsay, Dan, this has been an amazing conversation. But before we wrap up, is there any word of advice for companies looking to simplify and scale their global workforce so that they can do it like Klarna or do it like Bitpanda?
Yeah, I'm going to say, don't be afraid to take it on. And the thing is, it probably feels daunting. There's probably so many companies right now you can see are doing transformations, or maybe some are maybe thinking about a transformation in the future. don't be put off, don't be daunted. And there is a lot to consider. Things like POAs in each country, who's going to operate it, who's going to manage it, how we communicate to employees, making sure that the GLs are right in finance. There's so many different elements to it, but just don't be afraid. One of the most important things is focus on the process. And once you know how you want your process to work, then you know what type of people you've got, then you can really focus on a system that will help. And it's so important that you don't just pick a vendor, you pick a partner, someone that's able to grow along with the company, someone that's able to put in a lot of effort, as much as you will, in order for your employees. So don't be afraid. Tackle everything that needs to happen, because enhancements and technology is only going to get better as time moves on. So why not have a look at the jump now and then see what you can accomplish?
And I got to say, I can echo that 100%, right? And that vendor selection, that partnership selection, and that co-creation is so huge. I would also tie into that, choose the right tech stack from a people perspective from day one. It is really annoying and really hard to replace it over time. So you want to kind of get it right. But also it is sort of your single source of truth, right? And it is a space where you as HR professionals, but also your employees are going to spend a lot of time. And most people don't like to spend a lot of time in that type of technology, right? So try and get that really right. And also underpinning that is make sure it's a solution that'll give you the data that you need to be able to make the decisions that you need to make in order to drive your organization forward. And those sort of three elements to me are critical.
That makes a ton of sense. And Luke, I just want to say on behalf of everyone at Deel, myself today, we're so thankful for the partnership. We're so thankful that you're here today. I hope we get to build a lot together and do a lot more. You guys are awesome, and you've helped us grow as a business. You've helped us shape the product that we have. And from, genuinely from the bottom of our heart, we'll always be so thankful and hope to count you as a customer forever. All right, guys, thank you so much for taking the time today.